Hello and God bless you. Well, today we continue our end time series, following along with our outline of the end times. For today it says the final battle, or the last battle. But we since we basically covered that in our Battle of Gog and Magog, and the previous battles, end time battles we've done, the Battle of Gog and Magog and the Battle of Armageddon, those videos, you can see the link in the description for the videos and sermon notes for both those if you want to go back and listen to those end time battles. Today we're going to talk about three other battles that are believed to be end time battles. The first being in the book of Psalms, and then the other two being in Zechariah. And these are believed to be the end time battles. But like I said, read the word for yourself. Don't take my word or anybody else's for it. But in our outline, under our last battle, we had Revelations 20, verses 7 through 10 referenced. We're going to go ahead and cover them real quick. And then we're going to get on to the other three battles that are believed to be end time battles that will take place at some point during the end times. Here in verse 7 it says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison." And of course we know that this 1,000 years is the 1,000-year millennial reign of Jesus. And we talked about Jesus' millennial reign last week. On verse 8 it says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea." And of course that means that you ain't going to be able to count how many people are coming up against God here. In verse 9 it says, "And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever." And that's the last battle that we read about in the book of Revelation. And of course we talked about this in our Battle of Gog and Magog, where like I said, you can listen to the Battle of Gog and Magog, the videos that we made. You can listen to the Battle of Gog and Magog and the Battle of Armageddon, and also you can see the sermon notes as well. That's all in the description. I hope you look at the description all the time, because I always have the sermon notes for our videos, along with some other links and stuff that you might find interesting. And if we have anything connecting, like we're doing today, giving you the other two battles that we talked about, if you'd like to do some further reading and further watching and things of that sort, we also always have those in the description. But now that we've talked about that, our outline has this for today called the last battle, and we kind of covered it in the Battle of Gog and Magog. I wanted to talk about three battles that are believed to be going to be happening in the end times. And we're going to go first in the book of Psalms 83. We're going to read the entire chapter, 18 verses, and it said, "A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silent, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a turmoil, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And of course this could be connected to the last battle, because we know that the beloved city is Jerusalem. That's where Jesus is going to be ruling and reigning for 1,000 years. And everybody that lives with him in the 1,000-year period will be in Jerusalem with him. And this could also be a war that starts at the beginning. Maybe this could be a war that maybe the Antichrist will rise up and pretend like he's for the nation of Israel. Like I said, we don't know. I don't know for certain. I don't have God's time clock. I don't have his day planner. I don't know God's plan. Anyway, let's go on to verse 5, and it says, For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. Apologize if I don't pronounce some of these names right. Gilgal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also was joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishron, which perisheth at Edor. They become as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah, and as Zalmunna. I'm sorry if I mispronounce these words here. Who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a will, as the stubble before the winds. As the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them what thou temptest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Jehovah, art the Most High over all the earth. And that's a war that's believed to be an end-time war that's going to happen at some point, either before the tribulation starts, or maybe during it, or maybe afterwards. Like I said, I have no idea. I don't know for certain. I don't have, like I said, we look through God. I mean, we see God's plans like looking through a wooden fence, looking through a knothole, or looking through tinted glass. We can't get the whole picture. Anyway, our next war that we're going to talk about today is in Zechariah Chapter 12. We'll read a few verses here. It says, The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. Excuse me, I bumped my computer. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength, and in the Lord of hosts their God. And in that day will I make the governors of Judah like a heart of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David, and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at the day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord, and as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And here in Zechariah 14, we're going to talk about a war here that may also be part of the end time wars that may happen at the beginning, middle, or end of the tribulation. We don't know which. It could be what starts it, could be midway point, we don't know. Or at least I don't know. God hadn't given me that knowledge. I don't know his day plan or how he's going to make everything play out. But it says, Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the days of battle. And his feet shall stand that day upon Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, towards the east and towards the west. There shall be a great valley, and half the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that the living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them towards the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. And that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. And all the land shall be turned as a plan from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up, and the inhabited in her place, from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel unto the king's winepress. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this shall be the plagues wherein the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great turmoil from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And that's the three wars that are believed to be end time wars that may happen at some point before the tribulation starts, or during it at some point, or possibly the end. But we do know by these end time wars that, Jerusalem is Israel is the time clock. It's the timepiece of Bible prophecy. It's where all the end time events are going to happen, is in Israel. And we know that nations are going to come up against Israel, and there's not going to be anybody that will be there to help them. They'll be needing help from other nations, allies, and these allies won't come to their rescue, but God will. But these are some of the battles that will be taking place in the end times during the tribulation or roundabout. But like I said, rather than covering Revelation 20 verses 7 through 10 again, like we had already previously done in our Battle of Gog and Magog, I wanted to go ahead and bring out some other end time wars for y'all today. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, give God glory. Remember to not take my word or anybody else's for it. Read the word for yourself. Continue to pray to the Lord daily. We don't know when this end times will start, when Jesus is going to be coming back. Jesus could come back, and before I finish my sentence, he'd come back the next minute, the next hour, the next day, the next month, year, 10 years, on down the line. But we do know that we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We could pass away in our sleep. So we got to have a continual prayer and reading God's word daily. Keep ourselves, our mind on God, because it's like I always say, it's like a marriage. If you don't talk to your spouse, your chances are your marriage is not going to work out right. You're not going to have a relationship with God and be able to, he's not going to answer your list of stuff if you're not, talking to him every day. I mean, he's going to be with you. He's not going to leave you. He'll be there, but if you want to run and do what you want and not what he wants, he's a gentleman. He won't force you to serve him. But it's about having a personal relationship with him. And of course, if you've accepted Jesus as your personal Savior and made Him the Lord of your life, you understand what I mean. But if you haven't, you may not know exactly what I'm trying to say here. But you know, it's just a relationship that we gotta to grow and have a closer walk with Jesus. We have to be in His Word daily, and we gotta pray to Him daily. You know, that's the only way we can get to know God better. Like I said, I pray you got something out of this. If you did, give God glory. I think we'll be 2 more videos away from wrapping this up, and I think I'll have a couple more videos after that. I thought about one today that I think it might be good to bring out that has to do with the end times, and of course also I've talked about that I've been having a video I've been praying about and stuff that has to deal with what we're dealing with right now in the world, that I think will be really good. So we probably are going to be here for till almost October, if not into October. We'll still be doing these end time videos. And I'm praying you're getting something out of them. You know, like I said, I know there's a lot of preachers that, you know, preach about end times and stuff, and they may have more knowledge than I do about it, and that's perfectly fine. You know, if you want to seek them out, that's okay. For me, you know, I'm just giving what the Lord's given me to bring out, and I don't know His plan. I don't know how all this stuff's going to go down. I don't know in what order the end times is going to happen. I just know in my heart that it will, and that we're getting closer and closer each day, but I don't know how close. And I don't believe anybody on this earth, whether, no matter how long they've been studying end time prophecies, I don't think they know either. But we do know that Jesus is coming soon. We got to be ready. But even if we live an entire lifetime before Jesus comes, we still have to be ready to give an account for everything we've done. We've got to have everything. We've got to have our hearts and minds right with God, because we do not want to hear, when we get to heaven, we want to hear, "Well done, thou faithful servant, come on in." That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear, "Depart from me, you evil worker of iniquity, I never knew you." We don't want to hear that, because that means that instead of living in heaven in peace with God, we'll be eternally separated from God, and we'll be in torment. We're going to live forever either way. And I don't know if we can, if at the judgment we'll be able to apologize for things we've done and make it into heaven. I don't know if it works that way. I don't know. I don't have the power to determine if someone goes to heaven or hell. If it was up to me, everybody would be in heaven. But it's not up to me. And I'm glad it isn't, because I couldn't make that decision. I wouldn't know the first thing how to do it. But anyway, I love you. God bless you. I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next week, God willing. It's going to be a little bit of a hard time for me next week, so I pray you pray for me, because next week will be the 2-year anniversary of my mom's passing, and I'm dreading it, but I'm also looking forward to going to visit her grave and everything. So I pray that you pray for me, as you know, it's the 2-year anniversary, and this past 2 years have been rough. I've talked about it in previous videos. I try not to talk about it too much, but yeah, it's been a rough couple of years. So, and it's going to be the 2-year anniversary next Sunday when we post our video. I think will be about the White Throne Judgment. I believe that's what the next one is. But anyway, I love you. God bless you. I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next week, God willing. I love y'all.